Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. I'd like to welcome everybody to Chilling with Torah, Sunday nights at David Chai Synagogue. I want to give an honorable mention to our gracious host, Adam Tabari, Ashrecha Tzadik. Unbelievable tonight, the efforts that you made, the food that you're bringing, and to our gracious sponsor, Mr. Anonymous from New York, who is making this possible, that every single week we have snacks, candies, drinks, food. Today it's deli. Shrecha, Be'ezrat Hashem, shetatzichu b'chol ma'aseh yadechem. You have be'emet bracha v'atzlecha to you, to your family, to your children, to your zivugim, and Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem, the same way that you give us the shefa, Hashem will give you shefa in your life. We also have want to mention that this learning should be to the hirayon kal veleda kala shel Simcha bat Shula and Dina, Sheina bat Dina veleatzlachat Rina bat Jacqueline. Let's get started. This week's parasha is Parashat Emor, but we can't go into this week's parasha without talking about today. Today, up until a few minutes ago, it was Hilulat Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes. As a matter of fact, it's questionable why people celebrate it today. For example, my father tells me that the Hilulat of Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes in Israel, he remembers, was the day before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They would all go to Meron, and a day before, a couple of days before, would be Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes, and then it would be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, like Ba'omer. But over here, they came to the conclusion to give it this particular day, and it's widely practiced that today was the Hilulah of Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes. Does anybody know the story where all this, the Segulah of Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes comes from? I'll repeat it so everybody can know. How can we always say Zchut Atzadik Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes, that we ask for almost like a nes to happen in our life? Where's the source for it? So Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes was married to Bruria, his wife, and she had a sister, and his sister was captured. She was captured and taken to prison, and she was very worried about her. And she goes to her husband, Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes, you're a big tzaddik, which, by the way, he was a convert. Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes was a convert.
Who did he convert from?
And he says, go save my sister.
He was a convert or a son of a convert?
I'm sorry, he was the son of a convert. His father was a Giyok. So he goes and he goes to this special town to go rescue his wife's sister. And he comes to the prison guard. And he tells the prison guard, listen, I'm going to give you a bag full of money. Release that girl over there. He says, I can't. He says, if I'm going to release that girl, they're going to kill me. He says, I'm going to give you a bag full of gold. And every time that they come, you just pay them off. He says, what's going to happen when I run out of money? He says, when you run out of money, say, Elahad Meir Aneni. Just mention my name, and you'll be able to get out of the trouble. So this prison guard obliged, and he released Buria's sister. And every time somebody came, he was able to pay him off with a large amount of gold that he got from Rabbi Meir, until one time the money ran out, and then the guards came to get him, and they saw that he released her, and they decided that he's going to get hung. He's going to get killed. As he's there by the guillotine or by the post where they're hanging, he says, Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanes, you told me when I get into trouble to say your name. He says, Elahad Meir Aneni, Elahad Meir Aneni, Elahad Meir Aneni. And he was able to, the legend has it that the guy's hand froze or dried up, and he was able to get away from his trouble. And ever since then, we have a custom to say, Elahad Meir Aneni. When do we say it? We say it, like for example today, you light his candle, and you say, Elahad Meir Aneni 3 times. Elahad Meir Aneni, Elahad Meir Aneni, Elahad Meir Aneni. You stay over there and you give your kavanah for one big miracle that you need in your life. or one big thing that you need the atzlacha in your life, and then you read a perek of Tehillim, and that's what you do on his day. We also have it. לא משנה, זה פרק תהילים. יש מלא פעמים שמותר לקרוא תהילים בלילה. Another time, yeah, another time is, we say it, is during Havdalah. Havdalah, right before we say the bracha al the gefen, Savri Maranan, right? If you go to most Sephardic homes, right before they do that, you see them, Elahad Meiraneni, Elahad Meiraneni, Elahad Meiraneni, the head of the household has a concentration to one bakasha for the week. Savri Maranan Lechaim, Borei Pei HaGefen, he goes. Another place we say it. Another thing that you should know, something interesting, there's a machloket, whether to say Elaha de Rabbi Meir Aneni or Elaha de Meir Aneni. Why? Huh?
Something.
No, the Meir. Elaha de Meir Aneni. You don't say Elaha de Rabbi Meir Aneni. Why? Because the rabbis say, when you say Elaha de Rabbi Meir, the God of Rabbi Meir Aneni, it sounds like it's a special God, like a unique God of Rabbi Meir. It says Elaha de Meir Aneni, the God of Meir Aneni. It says you can understand it differently. Elaha, Elokut, de Meir, that lightens up Aneni. In other words, you took out this little half connection to a human being or to another God. So all characters, Elaha de Meir, the God that illuminates Aneni, answer me. So we have this big segula of giving big zechut to this tzaddik.
אני כל פעם שאני באתי משהו, אני אומר את אני כוונה 3 פעמים, לא עובר 60 שניות, אני מוצא את הדבר.
חזק.
זה עובד, בדוק.
מה שאומר, it's all connected to אמונה. A person who has strong אמונה can activate these powers, there's no question.
לא, אבל לא סתם כל דבר אתה אומר את זה.
כן.
מחפש קודם, וזה יכול להיות מול העיניים, אני לא רואה את זה. אתה משתגע, בסוף אני עוצר, אני אומר, פתאום בול, אני אפילו לא זז, בום.
I can tell you in the Moroccan households, כן, לא, זה יומן, למה לא?
לא, זה לא יומן, איך, איזה כוח יש לזה.
In the Moroccan households, I can tell you, the grandmothers, this is one name of a rabbi you always hear on their tongues. Rabbi Meir Balanes, Rabbi Meir Balanes. And this is, if there was a few rabbis that I knew since the age of 0 up until now, religious or not religious, Rabbi Meir, Baba Sali, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. These are the top 3 rabbis on their lips, no matter what. Those are the names. They call them out. So, B'zchut HaTzadik, Zchutot Zagen Alenu, that we mentioned a few words on him, we see that his Hilula always comes up on Parashat Emor. So where do we find Rabbi Meir Balanes in Parashat Emor? There's a pasuk that talks about Shemen Lamaor. What is Shemen Lamaor? Shemen Lamaor, this is people used to donate or used to be able to give money towards the oil for the lighting of the menorah. So ever since there's, we see that the oil for the lighting of the menorah comes from Elaha de Meir. We always say it's connected to the light. So there's a big special segula for anybody who wants to activate a special ness in their life, a special yeshuot in their life. What did they do? Shemen Lamaor. What's Shemen Lamaor? You go to the shul and you tell them, I want to donate $100, Shemen Lamaor, Zchut Rabbi Meir Ba'anes Tamud. What does it mean? That you say, I want to give $100 for the electric bill. Back in the days, there was no electric. There was oil for the lights. Before that, we used to have the oil for the Bet HaMikdash. So there's a zchut, there's a big mitzvah for using the special oil that illuminates. So nowadays, you say, I want to donate Shemen Lamaor to the Mikdash, Shemen Lamaor, the electric bill for the shul, and I want the zchut of Rabbi Meir Balanes to work for me. You can activate it. That's why sometimes when people come to donate, And they say, oh, you know what, I want to donate money for the shul, because they want to have something, you know, like some sort of connection or some sort of Yeshua. Recommend to them to pay the electric bill. And to say that this is the Yeshua of Rabbi Meir Balanes. To give Shemen Lama'or. Just a little bit thing about Rabbi Meir. Now, Parashat Emor. Parashat Emor, you should know, talks about three things. One, it talks about the Kohanim. Two, it talks about the holidays. And three, it talks about the man that cursed God. A Megadef. So in the first part, talks about the Kohen. The Kohen is not allowed to marry everybody. Kohen has to marry a very special girl. Can't marry a divorcee. Can't marry a girl who's not a virgin. As a matter of fact, nowadays, when you go to dating profiles, you'll find Kohen friendly. You see when they're searching for each other, the guy says, you know, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, and I like the girl to also be Kohen friendly. What's Kohen friendly?
She's
not a divorcee. This, yeah.
Wow.
That's because people still holding on to the values of yesteryears of the Torah. So there's a pasuk in Perek Chaf Aleph, pasuk Tet. This I got from Jack Lankry. Every week he sends me texts of all the Divrei Torah from Israel, like hundreds and hundreds of pages from every shul. So I get to every once in a while. He has like a really funny one, not a funny one, a really really strong one. So to the pasuk that reads, "Uvat ish kohen ki techel liznot, et avia hi mechalelet ba'esh tisarev." Back in the days, when a girl used to go off the path, she used to embarrass her own father. And what was her punishment for embarrassing her father, the Kohen? She would get burnt. Okay? So there was a rabbi in Morocco. A big rabbi, I think his name was Rav Yosef. And during the time that he was the rabbi of the community, they started to give out books of the Brit HaChadashah, the New Covenant, the New Testament. We're the Old Testament, the Bible, right? The New Testament is of J.C. Penney. So when they started to put all this New Testament in the communities, in order for not to seep in, Rabbi Yosef, what did he do? He took out all the students out of the kollel, took them out, and he told them, okay, go hit the streets and bring me all these books. Bring me all these books of the New Testament. And after the end, when they collected it, they put it in the middle of a pile. And he tells them tells them, bring me the fire, we're going to burn it. So they say, Rabbi, are you sure? He was saying, of course. Go to Parashat Emor, go to Perek Chaf Aleph, Pasuk Tet. What does it say over there? He says, Uvat ish kohen. He says, Ki tachel liznot. He says, what's the Kohen? The Kohen is the Torah. What's the Bat ish kohen ki tachel liznot? That's the New Testament. He says, the Kohen is the Torah. Right? Ki tachel liznot, the Torah with chel liznot, what is it? The New Testament. Et avia im chalelet. She's desecrating Hashem. Ba'esh tisaref. And he burnt it all. I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful chidush, because you can see that this is the original. She started to be a liznot in the way of her thinking. What's her decree? To get burnt. I'll tell you one more chidush before we turn to our good friends over here. At the end of the parasha, and by the way, this is the parasha where two things happened. We have the one Jew, the desecrated Shabbat, and then we have the one Jew that cursed God. They both happen in Parashat Emor. At the end of the parasha, it talks about the one that cursed. It says over there in Pasuk Yud, Vayetze ben isha Israelit, vehu ben ish Mitzri, betoch bnei Israel, v'yinatzu b'machane ben Israelit ve'ish Israeli. Vayetze ben isha Israelit. Who's this guy? Vehu ben ish Mitzri. He's the son of a Jewish girl, but his father is Egyptian. Who is she? So the next pasuk tells us, ויקוב בן האישה הישראלית את השם, ויקלל, והביא אותו אל משה, ושם אמו שלומית בת דברי למטה דן. So, right before Yetziat Mitzrayim, we have a scenario. We have Shulamit standing outside of the tent, and every time somebody passes by, Shalom, Boker Tov, Ma'anyanim, hello, how are you? Shulamit. אומרת שלום לכולם. בת דברי, בת דברים, כל הזמן מדברת. That's how she got into trouble. And what happened? The Mitzri came. How did he come? He liked her. He saw her. Sam aleh ayn. He went to her husband and he woke him up early. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And goes to him, get up. Go to work. You're behind on your quota from yesterday. He came to his house, pushed him out to go to work, and he went back into the tent to be with Shlomit. It was dark, she didn't know, she thought it was her husband, but from this little interaction came out a son. Who's the son? The one over here that cursed Hashem. Now it says over here, Ben Isha Israelit, Vehu Ben Ish Mitzri, Betoch Bnei Israel. מה זה Betoch Bnei Israel? He converted. He was Jewish. Even though that his mom is Jewish, he was a convert. But what happened? When they're setting up the camps in the Midbar, he doesn't know where to go. Why? The Shvatim is according to who? According to the father. Who's his father? His father is Egyptian. So he says, where do I go? He says, no, you go to Mateh Dan. He said, no. Mateh Dan, your mother is done. Your father is not done. So he says, I don't understand. I'm not part of the nation. You're not going to accept me? And he started to lose his control, lose his temper, and he started to curse God. So on one side, you can say, come on, the Jewish people. You couldn't take him in. Couldn't find a thing. You couldn't find a situation, what to do with him. And the second thing is, where's the kaf zchut to Shevet Dan? Let's weigh it out. Shevet Dan is looking at this guy, saying he is the product of a bad union. His father is Mitzri. He's going to come right now, be part of us. What about my daughters? What about my boys? I work so hard on them. This guy's going to come, he's going to start ruining them. Listen, I'm sorry, I have to protect my home. I have to protect my children. Hakol tov ve'yafeh. I don't know how you came into this world and what situation you're in, but not to my doorstep. You have a shady background. The other side is, if he's not from Shevet Dan, and he's not from anything, what do you have to do? You have to go to the rabbi, right? You have to go and ask the rabbi, Rabbi, what do we do? Why did the case of the Jew that Chilel Shabbat and the Jew that cursed God isn't the same thing? Because when it came to the one that desecrated Shabbat, what did they do? They quarantined him. They put him on the side until Moshe will say what to do with him. Right? The same thing is supposed to be done with him. But what happened? He lost his temper. Before saying, okay, you know what? Let's Moshe come. He'll figure it out for you. He'll say what's the right thing for you to do. What's the right decree? Which shevet you're going to go? We'll decide. Before any of that, what did he do? He lost it. He lost it to the point that he used the Shema Meforash and he cursed it. Where does he have the Shema Meforash from? He was there in Ma'amad Har Sinai. In Ma'amad Har Sinai, he saw the God's name and he cursed it. So we see over here that a person's anger can ruin his entire life. He died. They stoned him to death. Why? Over one moment of losing control. He could have just said, we can't figure it out, let's go to the leader. They could have just said, we don't know what to do with you, let's go to the leader. But a moment of lack of control because something wasn't right in his life and he ruined everything. Over here we see what's Kaas, which is another thing that we have to work on during this 49 days of the Omer. How you can lose your entire life because of Kaas, and how important it is to have a leader that you can always go to and ask questions. Just a little bit on the parasha. Now, let's turn the camera to our good friend Eli. He's going to give us something on Masechet Ta'anit.
מסכת תענית לא קשור היום.
לא קשור?
לא כל כך.
פרשת אמור.
נדבר קצת על המקושש. זה המקושש שהוא החליט, he decided on Shabbat to go and pick up some wood picks.
Do we know who he is?
We know. He's the father of the four ladies. שאחר כך, that after לא מצאו להם
משבט מנשה,
בנות צלופחד.
צלופחד, his name is צלופחד.
His name is צלופחד. And the question is, why did he do that? I mean, everybody knew that everybody knew that you're not allowed to pick up some wood in Shabbat. But the Mefarshim says to give him a kaf zchut. He says that he knew that it's not allowed. But when God gave the commandments, nobody really know what was the punishment. He says like, okay, mechalel Shabbat mot yumat, but mot yumat, like how? In the next word, ba'olam haba, כאילו, nobody knew. So he did, כביכול, לשם שמיים. He says like, okay, like, I don't want anybody to sin. I don't want anybody to not know what's going to happen. So I'm going to take upon myself to be the Sela Azazel. So he went and he did that. And even though they told him, today Shabbat, stop doing what you're doing, he ignored it. And he kept on, pick up wood.
He was gathering wood, yeah.
Gathering wood. So then his trial brought in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu says, let me hear what Kadosh Baruch Hu says. And then he tells him, stone him to death. So leman yiru v'yiraun. So all of Israel will see, and now everybody will know, like, okay, you're not allowed to lechalel Shabbat because mot yumat is ba'olam
אז הוא
hazeh.
עושה את זה לשם שמיים.
Shem shamayim.
ולאהבת עם ישראל.
That's why his בנות שלו, when they come to Moshe, he says, אבינו לא מת בחטא המרגלים, מת בחטאו. He did his own sin.
And they got a plot in עם ישראל. Why did it שאלת רב?
Why?
הם עשו שאלת רב, לקחו ושאלו.
הלכו ושאלו את משה. אבינו לא מת מחטא המרגלים, מת בחטאו.
חזק. Yonatan, you have something?
Can I go last?
Yeah. Adam?
Not really.
אילן? זכה אותנו. עוד מעט. אלי? Okay, work on it. In the meantime, I'll give one more. Emor. Parashat Emor. There's another one.
We're not popular?
It says, אישה זונה וחללה לא ייקחו, ואישה גרושה מאישה לא ייקחו, כי קדוש הוא לאלוקיו. So there's a famous story, I think we said it here before, I say it again, about a Kohen. A Kohen is not allowed to marry a divorcee. So there's a story of a couple that was married for a very long time, and they couldn't conceive. They couldn't have children. And they were very religious. They got to close to 10 years. So the wife comes to the husband and she tells him, listen, it's almost 10 years we're together and we can't have children. Halachically, according to the halakha, we have to get divorced. You have a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah of pruvu. It's not, the mitzvah is not on me, the mitzvah is on you. As much as I love you, as much as you love me, as much as we want to be together, but you have a mitzvah to perform, and I can't be in the way of that. Look at this. We can't even begin to understand what it means to be religious and to do that. And this is a couple that loves each other. And they loved each other even more so, just the whole, they're trying to get pregnant and get pregnant. You know, there's a chibur over there. Sometimes when couples go through a struggle together, they get even more connected, because it's an experience that they go through. To make a long story short, they go to the rabbi. The rabbi tells them, listen, it's 10 years, halachically you have to get married, you have to get divorced, you have to have children. With a heavy heart, they go to the rabbi, they get the divorce. And 3 months after they get divorced, the woman starts to show. She's pregnant.
From him.
From him. They run back to the rabbi and say, Rabbi,
I forgot to mention he was Ukraine.
Rabbi, my wife is pregnant. He goes, she's not your wife. He goes, I want to go back. I want to go back and marry my wife. He goes, you know you can't go marry your wife again. You're a Kohen. Kohen can't go back to a divorcee. It's against the halakha. But he says, Rabbi, it's my wife. I've been waiting for 10 years. You know our story. He goes to him, I know your story, and it hurts my heart, but halakha is halakha. Now you could imagine a person who's in this situation. It's a very, very tough situation. 10 years trying. After they get divorced, after divorce she's pregnant. Now they can't go back. This is high-level drama. So the rabbi tells him, listen, take some time off. גם, אין, בכלל. היא גרושתו.
סבתא שלי התגרשה והתחתנה עוד פעם עם סבא שלי.
That's the halakha for the Kohen.
אבל בן אדם רגיל כן, אבל כהן לא.
So he goes to go visit your parents in Brooklyn. They were living in Israel. He says, go visit your parents in Brooklyn. Take some time off, clear your mind, and come back. He took the advice of the rabbi. He went to go visit his father in Brooklyn. That time his father was in the hospital. He comes to visit his father and he tells him, listen, Abba, listen to my story. You know how much I love my wife. For 10 years we're trying to conceive. We do everything according to the halakha. After 10 years, we're trying to conceive. Now we got the divorce, and now she's pregnant. Now I can't go back because we're kohanim. So his father sits him down, and he tells him, "Sit down. I have to tell you something." He goes to him, "Go back to your wife. Go back. Go marry her, and go raise your child." Because you were adopted. He goes to him, what? He goes to him, yeah, when you were very young, you were adopted, and the truth is that we raised you a certain way. We didn't want you to feel like an outcast or something like that. But he went back home. And he was able to get back with his wife and his children. Like I always say when I tell the story, don't ask me what happened during Birkat Kohanim, Aliyah la Torah, I don't know, it brings up all these things.
הבן שלי, קטן. אם אמא שלו הייתה כהן. הייתה נשואה לכהן. איך שהוא נולד, הלכה, החזירה את זה חזרה לברכה. אמרתי לה, למה ברכה? מה פתאום הוא מיהר כל כך להחליף? בגלל זה החליפה.
מה זאת אומרת?
כי היא כהן.
אז מה?
אבל הילד שלי לא כהן.
הילד לא
אז
יכול
אם הוא
להיות
יהיה
כהן,
כהן...
זה לפיך, זה לא לפיה.
אבל זה לפני שהתחלנו לבדוק את העניינים.
הבנתי. הבנתי.
היא כהן, מהבעלה. מהגרוש שלה, יותר נכון.
אז מה היא
היא
שמה?
הביאה את הילד, אז מה היא עשתה מהר? הלכה ל...
דניאל חי?
דניאל חי. אז כשהיא ילדה את דניאל חי, היא הלכה החליפה מהר מכהן לברכה, למשפחה של ההורים שלה בחזרה.
שלא הגיעו...
אמרתי, מה כל כך מהר לא החליף את ה... אני לא הבנתי את זה. אחר כך הסבירה לי, אבל הוא לא כהן.
יפה.
אמרתי לו, זה הוא רואה.
חכמה.
היא אומרת, כן, באותו רגע לא חשבתי על כלום, חשבתי על המשפחה שלי, אתה איפה אתה הייתה? אתה מבין? אבל שהוא לא יהיה כהן בכלל. שלא יגידו, היה כהן, חזר להיות רועה, שלא יהיה כהן בכלל.
שלא טעויות.
כי הוא לא כהן בכלל.
נכון. אקסלנט. חזק, she's smart. אדם, you have it?
No.
ותגיד לי, למה לא קוראים תהילים בלילה? סתם פתאום זה בא לי בראש.
כי זה זמן של דינים ותהילים זה חסדים.
כי היא קוראת כל יום, כל לילה, אמרו לה לקרוא תהילים.
לא טוב, אבל כי תהילים זה חסדים ובלילה זה זמן של דינים ולא טוב לערבב דינים וחסדים. אחרי חצות הלילה אפשר, אבל עד חצות משקיעה או חצות לא כל כך טוב. חוץ מערב שבת.
Okay. Jonathan, you have something? I took your chidush. Okay. In a few days, there's Lag BaOmer. I'll say one more thing about Lag BaOmer and then we'll call night.
When is it? Lag BaOmer on second?
It's
One
Thursday.
thing before you say,
Thursday.
לא, יום רביעי.
ל"ג בעומר.
Go ahead, say it, it's ההלכה.
ל"ג בעומר יום רביעי.
התכוונת להגיד?
לא.
On ל"ג בעומר, very important. ביום של ל"ג בעומר, אסור להגיד שהיום ל"ג בעומר. אסור להגיד, כי ברגע שאמרת היום ל"ג בעומר, ספרת את ספירת העומר, מגיע הלילה אסור לך לספור.
אסור גם להגיד מתי ל"ג בעומר? אסור להגיד ל"ג בעומר.
באותו יום.
באותו יום רק. זאת אומרת, מותר לי להגיד היום, מהיום, יום חמישי זה ל"ג בעומר. אבל ביום, אבל...
בוא אליי היום, חוגגים היום ל"ג בעומר.
היום, לא, להגיד היום ל"ג בעומר.
אמרת היום ל"ג בעומר,
בוא עושים מדורות.
כי ספרת.
ספרת את ספירת העומר, אסור לך לספור עוד פעם.
באותו יום אסור להגיד את
גם ל"ג בעומר אסור.
את הצירוף מילים היום
ל"ג
ל"ג בעומר.
לא, גם ל"ג בעומר זה כאילו אתה סופר אותו.
ל"ג בעומר. מותר להגיד לך, מותר להגיד ל"ג, מותר להגיד 33, אבל ברגע שחיברת 33 ואת העומר, ספרת.
ספירת העומר אבל נגמרת בשני למאי.
יש פוסקים שאומרים כאילו גם...
הסכנה בשני למאי נגמר, נכון?
לא, זה 49 היום.
49 יום.
היום שרה לוסי אמרה לחברה שלי...
זה לפי הספרדים.
אוקיי.
למה לא סופרים את היום החמישי?
היום 49.
למה? נו.
היום 49.
אמרנו את זה פה?
לא.
היום ה-49?
כתוב פה בספר.
אוקיי.
הרי כתוב, אבל למה סופרים רק 49?
לא, סופרים, אבל...
היום ה-50 זה החג.
לא, אתה לא קורא...
50 זה החג, אבל למה לא סופרים? אבל הוא אומר לך, ספרתם 50 יום.
יש שם זה וזה וזה וזה...
50, זה סופר רק 49.
לא זוכר, הייתי פשוט תשובה.
יש איזה
שמעתי פעם.
קטע שאנחנו אומרים אותו כל יום.
נו.
ביום 49
לא.
אתה לא קורא אותו.
נכון, על שם ייחוד.
יש פסוק כזה שמה, שביום 49 אתה לא אומר אותו. אצלי בסידור זה כתוב.
Don't do anything risky. זה מה ששרה לוסי
אחרי
אמרה.
ל"ג בעומר זה... כן. אחרי ל"ג בעומר זה פחות...
אבל רק בעומר יום רביעי אני חושב, לא חמישי.
אתה יכול להתגלה רק על ל"ג בעומר.
זה פחות...
עד מתי נגיד אסור ללכת לים?
או יום שלישי.
אחרי...
אחרי ל"ג בעומר.
מה?
בוא נגיד את השעה שלך.
רק בל"ד
ל"ג
מותר
בעומר מותר
להתגלח.
ללכת?
כן.
למה לא אחרי?
זה כן.
someone.
זה
I have a
נכון.
question for
זה
you.
יוצא שיום חמישי?
Why are you not
כבר עדיף לחכות ליום שישי, או שזה לא משנה?
to cut your hair
אחרי חצות היום.
before like?
לא, אבל זה לא משנה.
יום חמישי זה
Like
ל"ג
Bama,
בעומר.
but then after Lag Bama, you're allowed to cut your
יום
hair.
חמישי זה ל"ג בעומר, אז יום שישי אחרי צהריים אתה רק יכול להתחיל.
Because we're
לא,
mourning.
יום רביעי.
We're mourning the 24,000 students of Rabbi
חמישי
Akiva.
שנה.
לא יכול
אני
להיות יום
התגלחתי
חמישי, זה ל"ג
בשביל
בעומר.
יום חמישי.
עבודה.
בסדר.
איזה יום יוצא? רביעי בערב, לא?
יום רביעי בערב.
זה בא עם הזמן.
יום שישי כבר התגלה.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming for
חצות, אתה יכול להתגלח,
Chilling with
אבל
Torah.
אתה מתגלח לקראת שבת.